This is going to be very different message today than what I usually do on message videos. I want to say again, and we have said this from the very beginning, back in 2020 when we actually began to do these videos, that I had no interest in doing a video just to put on a video. If the Lord didn't give me something to say, which I didn't mean to laugh at that moment. Most of you that follow this ministry on a regular basis would laugh with me because it seems like I always have something to say, and sometimes I wish that I wouldn't say it. I didn't want to just do this video ministry just to put out a video every week. And I hope that to the best of our ability that we have followed that in what we have done throughout this long period. I couldn't have imagined when we started this that 4 years later we would still be doing it. I still think back to when we started doing it, that I thought that was the dumbest idea that I had ever heard. But wow, what God has done. And it just seems phenomenal that it has been that long ago. But we've tried our best to make sure that if we put a video out, and I recognize that that's okay. I'm not upset by saying this. I recognize that there's very few of you, very few, that watch every video that we put out. I understand that. But I hope that any of the videos that you have watched have been blessings, challengings, whatever it was that God wanted to do in your life. As I record this, and we're recording well in advance, so it's actually weeks ahead of that, so maybe I shouldn't say as I record this, I should say as we are releasing this, it will be released on the Friday before Mother's Day. I heard someone say the other day, Mother's Day is forever changed when your mother is gone. And whoever it was that said that couldn't have spoken stronger truth. It changes when Mom is gone. Your attitude and the way that you perceive the day. I am honored to have, and it was so tough. I'm not whining about that. I'm the youngest child in our family, but because of circumstances, I had to be the power of attorney. I had to oversee my mom's care, and my mom's care was not good in the last year or so of her life, but it is something that I'm so glad for the mom that I had. She was a good mom. It wasn't always easy, and I certainly was not always an easy child to try to care for. But she always cared. And I appreciate the reality because I know maybe some of you have not been blessed with that experience. Maybe you haven't had a mom and dad that cared for you the way that they should have, or protected you the way that they should have. And I understand that. I've done a lot of counseling with people that their parents did great damage to them. So I recognize how grateful I can be for the reality of having a wonderful mom who lived her life to the best of her ability. She questioned and battled with things that happened. There was bad things that happened. But she kept strong in her faith, even if it was just underlying faith. If on the surface people saw weakness, I didn't see on the surface. I saw underlying. And I very much appreciate the mom that I had with all of her flaws, because I was a flawed son again. And so I recognize that. I think in this day and time, and it saddens me, if you have followed the ministry, you have heard me say numerous times, we just said it in our recent newsletter release, that I so appreciate the moms out there. Being a mom is so tough. And oftentimes the moms do things that are behind the scenes, that no one notices or recognizes what they are doing because there isn't a trumpet blasting in front of them. That my children's mom, my wife, and yes, it didn't end good for us, but I look back and I think the reality that I was on the road just tremendous amounts of time, that I was on the road and away, and she was in a wheelchair, but she did everything that she could to try to make sure that the household continued to function. Were there breakdowns? Yes. But when I say I appreciate the moms out there, that's not just words to say on Mother's Day. I really, really mean that. And I think the heart of motherhood is so deeply under attack by the enemy to try to destroy that. Young ladies today oftentimes look at marriage and motherhood as being a curse and a bondage and a slavery. And to me, that's the greatest thing that you can be. The influence that you can have. You see, and they weren't perfect throughout the scripture. I love reading the genealogy of Jesus Christ listed in Matthew chapter 1, and you see some really flawed people in there. People that tried to stomp around again and say, I'm a perfect mom. I don't have time to waste on them. I don't even want to hear from them. What stupidity and hypocrisy. I'm not talking about perfect moms, but I'm talking about ladies with the heart of a mother. And ladies with the heart of a mother, I have loved the ones that I've known, and I've got to know a lot of them. Let me tell you, in ministry, I have gotten to know a lot of them. There's been numerous ones, and one of the most recent funerals that I did, I called the lady in the funeral a mama bear. And let me tell you something, you didn't mess with her little ones. Because the claws came out really, really quickly. She was a good lady, soft-hearted, very kind. But you didn't mess with her little ones. And I loved that about her. I love that about ladies that I have known, that you see that heart of a mother. And that's like no heart out there that you can notice or touch. I just, and I could call out several within my own family. I could call them off really quickly to you that has that mother's heart that I just appreciate so much. Sometimes I think that I should let them know that more often. of how much I appreciate them. And those mothers have had such influence. Unfortunately, mothers have had bad influence throughout the scriptures. You see mothers of kings that misled the kings, but moms have influence. You moms out there, you have influence. And it's one of the greatest things that God gives you. And you just can't touch the heart of the mom. I think that's what I'm going to title this message, that I'm doing totally without notes and just, but I think of that. I think of when Jesus was born and King Herod killed all of the babies that was 2 and under of the Israelite children. And I think even Pharaoh in the time of Moses killed the Israelite children. Hitler killed the Israelite children. In the account of Herod doing that in the New Testament, the Bible says Rachel, there was crying that could not be calmed because Rachel, the wife of Israel, the wife of Isaac, sorry for that mess up, was weeping. I think that weeping, probably the sound of that weeping has gone on even in recent days as little babies in Israel were beheaded by absolute terrorists. I don't care what you want to call them, media. They're terrorists. They're not interested in land for peace. They're interested in the annihilation of Israel as a nation and a people. And I think, but we've done away so much. The heart has been hardened. Some 65 million babies slaughtered by their mothers. We can talk about the ones that have been slaughtered by terrorists. Yes, that's a terrible thing, but by their mothers. Millions and millions of them slaughtered for convenience sake. The heart of the mother has been so attacked. You know, I don't think that it makes you a good thing if you're a lady trying to be like a man. I think what makes you special is that you're a lady. I can do anything a man can do. You probably can, and most things probably better. But that's not what makes you special. What makes you special is that you are a lady. And men, let me say it to you, same way. What makes you special is that you are a man. God created us to be what we are. And it's the same way. I've said that as a daddy. I've said that. If you deal with me as a pastor, I'm pretty giving and easygoing and laid back. Don't deal with me as a daddy. Because let me tell you, as a daddy, my claws will come out really fast. You tried to hurt my babies or my grandbabies, and you'll find a totally different personality in that. I think that's the way God created us. And God created, and I watch that, and it frustrates me. I've said that in post before, that ladies just put themselves down so badly. I've seen that so much through the years. Wonderful, wonderful mommies that will say, "Oh, I'm such a failure as a mommy," because their child. My daughter will tell you, I love my daughter, but she was an accident waiting to happen. She found more ways to hurt herself. Did that make us bad parents because she hurt herself? Sometimes I wonder whether we were good parents or bad parents, but that's reality. I hurt myself when I was a kid. If you could see on that hand, and you can't, I have a huge scar on my hand where I had numerous stitches on the inside and numerous more on the outside. Was that because my parents was bad parents? No, that was because I got mad and stormed onto the front porch and fell down and cut my hand. But I watch these moms that just have such low self-thought about their abilities as moms. And on the background, I'm watching their little ones grow up. And I'm watching those little ones just become just dynamic little creatures. I hope that you know. And I say this with the authority of the ministry, the warrior sword. I appreciate you, mamas, that I watch, that I read about, that I look at the pictures of your little ones, that I see the heart of a mommy, not just from the mommy, but instilling itself into the heart of those little ones that are influenced and affected by what you do. I mentioned my daughter. I'm going to come to a close because I didn't want this message to be too long today, but I love and I love both of my grandbabies. I'm not making one over the other, but my daughter is such a loud, boisterous worshiper. Not prayer, but she's learning, but worshiper. And I love to watch my little 2-year-old grandson worship. Oh my word, maybe someday he's going to be a preacher. I don't know. But he's definitely a worshiper. Man, he will bend his body over and stomp his foot down on the ground and just with everything inside. And I think that's the heart of mommy instilling itself. We as parents have the opportunity to have some of our greatest influence upon our little ones. Now, I know there are some of you that watch that are guys, you're not mommies. There are some of you that watch that might say this message just wasn't for me. Well, maybe step back and listen again, because maybe the message is for you in a different way. I think that the devil is attacking that heart, and he has been for years, just destroying this great recognition of what it means to get to be a parent. And one of my greatest memories in ministry, one of my greatest blessings, was a lady years and years ago that had just met me. She didn't know anything about me. She knew nothing. Years and years ago, still just a young man. And she prayed over me, and then she made a statement, a prophecy, if you will. You are going to be a daddy to thousands. I love the reality that so many kids through the years that I have got to coach in soccer and in basketball and get to minister to in different ways and had them come to the church and worked with them and all of that, a lot of them still look at me as their second dad. And I think that's the greatest influence that I could ever have on anyone. God gives you the opportunity to be an influence. Don't let Satan steal that heart away by telling you that that somehow makes you weak, because it doesn't make you weak. And to all of the mommies out there, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a slave. It doesn't make you controlled. It makes you the greatest women on the face of this planet. And here is one minister that really, really appreciates you. Be blessed. Happy Mother's Day, mamas. Be blessed.